Man United were impressive during Project Restart, finishing third in the Premier League and qualifying back into the Champions League. But a very poor transfer window and a strange off-season at Old Trafford has led to a bad start in their league campaign. And now, will Man United show that they belong back in the Champions League, or is another hiding in store? Charlotte, I want to start with you. What's it been like covering Man United so far this season, being there on the match days and watching them lumber through the gears, especially in those very, very difficult home games that they've had?
I think it's been much like you've seen on the TV. There's that deflated atmosphere around, especially given the last game that I covered was that 6-1 hammering at home to Tottenham. I don't think things could have got much worse for them, especially if you consider the start they've had in the league. Like you say, they struggled in their opening fixture, they lost that. Then there was that hammering from Jose Mourinho's side. There was the promise of the transfer window and how there was still hope they were going to get who they wanted and that was going to spark them into life. But you look at who they brought in, and no disrespect to the players that they brought in, but it's hard to see how they're going to inspire them into some formidable form that's going to get them through what's set to be a really difficult next few weeks. I've got United's fixture list here and it just doesn't let up. They've got PSG away, then they've got Chelsea at home, Leipzig at home, Arsenal at home, Istanbul away, Everton at home, West Brom, Istanbul again, Southampton, PSG. You're looking at those and Solskjaer's squad isn't good enough, in my opinion, to keep rotating. They've not had a great start to the Premier League, so he's not going to want to drop any more points in the league. So then you're talking about the fact that he's going to have to bring in fringe players, squad players, into these Champions League games, which aren't going to be easy either. Mata was great against Luton, put in a good shift against Brighton. Are you going to throw him in against PSG? Probably not.
Sam, when you were watching the Champions League draw unfold, fair enough, Istanbul, Basaksehir are one prospect. But when you saw Paris Saint-Germain and then RB Leipzig come out of the pot, what did you think in terms of Man United's expectations for this Champions League campaign?
I think they should be just happy to be happy to be there. Managing to beat Paris last time round. I think Solskjaer revels and seems to perform best when they've got the position of the plucky underdog. And sort of Project Restart has blown that out of the water because they were brilliant in that period. They managed to finish third. Very few people thought they were going to finish third last season. They should have started the season at least with a little bit of that aura of we're Man United. That cocksure attitude which was always around under Fergie, knowing they'd go and beat Spurs. It's just Tottenham. We're Man United. Now they're supposed to be the big boys again, and the other teams are raising their game. Whether it's a mental issue, I don't know. But going to PSG when they're Paris are better than when we played them last time. Mbappe has developed. Neymar will most likely be playing. When you look at that, the sort of the big three defenders that are left of Maguire, Lindelof, and Bailly, just they're all riddled with their own different but very drastic errors. Lindelof is, you saw the way Zaha just pulled him left, right, turned him inside out. It wasn't fair. I'd just go, right, sod it, lads. All of you have a fortnight off. Mengi, you're in. And just pick a couple of the 18-year-olds and go, whatever you do, it won't be as bad as the last lot. So just fill your boots, lads. And try and grow one of these young kids and give them some experience. Otherwise, you're just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, I think.
Tuanzebe and Mengi, a centre-back pairing for Paris away.
Absolutely, yeah. Why not? Otherwise, you're going to have, Lindelof tripping over his own feet. They've got Mbappe running at them as well. And they'll be like, oh, I've seen you on the cover of FIFA 21. You're better than me. I'll bow down, rip me to pieces. Whereas the kids will come in and go, I know how to play against you on FIFA 21, mate, in my pocket. I've got no issue. I've got no worries.
Maybe Paris Saint-Germain, getting 2 wins against Paris Saint-Germain might be beyond Man United, might be beyond a lot of teams, to be honest, in the Champions League, Charlotte. But looking at Leipzig and looking at Istanbul, would Solskjaer and his backroom team, would they have identified any particular weaknesses in those other squads where they can exploit and make sure that they do end up taking that runners-up spot behind Paris Saint-Germain come the end of the group?
Well, it's funny because if you look at one of the managers they're going to come up with against in the group stage, in Nagelsmann, he's managed to train a team of, I'm not saying they were average players, but they weren't world beaters. And
unproven players.
Yeah, look where he's managed to get them, and then the difference being that Solskjaer has hypothetically some world-class players on his books, and things just aren't working for them. But we've got to hope that they can beat Istanbul twice. And I suppose a good thing for them is that a usually hostile atmosphere over in Turkey won't happen because of social distancing. I think fans are being allowed back in over there, unlike over here. So there could be a few, but it's not going to be the same sort of atmosphere that could have potentially got Istanbul a result. But United will be always say we've got to go and play to our strengths, but at the minute it's not really too clear what their strengths are.
Sam, Charlotte mentioned RB Leipzig and Julian Nagelsmann there, and what he's done with this squad and converted players like Upamecano into highly coveted players for clubs like Man United. You know, is there an element of United looking at a team like Leipzig and thinking that should be us? We should be capable of producing players like that. We should be capable of, I don't know, that kind of purpose, that kind of football, that kind of tactics. Are you jealous of Leipzig?
I'm jealous in the way they've managed to sort of create a cohesive football team. I'm not jealous of them as a club by any stretch of the imagination. Are they 11 years old? But I think some of the players that they've been bringing through, like Upamecano, as you mentioned, he does look amazing, and he's been a talent for a number of years, and I think they'll be looking at United now and thinking, we should be having these boys now. We should really be having them. I think that's a good indicator as to how much United have fallen from grace, both as a club, as a team, and as a European power as well.
Charlotte, I wanted to come to you just on not so much the expectations from the group as such. I have Man United down as third favourites for the group for the record, but more on the expectations for this particular game. Are the club looking at it as a potential 3 points? Are they looking at a damage limitation exercise? Do they see themselves as the equal of a team like Paris Saint-Germain, who got to the Champions League final last year? How does the club perceive themselves, and how do you see their expectations then for this game?
I think it'd be a very sad day if Man United were going into any Champions League game thinking this is a damage limitation job, which was obviously where we got in the second half of the Spurs game. And if they find themselves in a similar situation at half time, then yeah, fair enough. But they definitely shouldn't be going into that game thinking that. There's still the confidence that they can go there and get a result. They've had a couple of weeks apart from each other now. You've had the new signings come in. You've just got to hope that they can scrap the first few weeks of the season as a bit of a disaster. They've not had a break, as Solskjaer reminded us. They didn't have enough pre-season, and maybe they can start clicking through the gears, but they're always going to go there and think that they can go and get at least a point. I think if they came away with a point, they'd be absolutely delighted with that. And if you look at that group, I think a point would be a really good result. But you look at PSG and the team that they've got, and especially the way Man United have been defending, and you just wonder how on earth they're going to go there and get a result.
Predictions, guys? Charlotte, I'll come to you first.
3-1 defeat.
Grim that, Annette.
Not great. It could have gone worse. The last game I covered, they lost 6-1 at home. Not going to be full of optimism.
True, yeah. Sam?
Well, I think if you think that Palace should have had 5, Brighton should have had 6 or 7, Tottenham did get 6. There's going to be goals, aren't there? There's going to be goals. I think it will be 5-3 to Paris.
Lovely prediction.
Yeah, unless the kids play in defence, in which case I think it will be a ground out 1-0 that will be reminiscent of a Serie A match from 1991.
Bruno Fernandes winning penalty.
Obviously, there's no other way.